Why do you think it's okay to talk about other people's lives? Who are you to make commentary about them? You say she's making money altering her timeline, but you are making money talking trash about other people. Stop looking to other people's lives and consider the morals of your channel. Who am I to make commentary about them? Well, for one, they post their garbage online, which means fair game. Plus, my channel is based around commentary, genius, and I'm the one that should reconsider the morals of my channel. Yet I'm not the one faking infertility for clout. What's going on, everyone? Your favorite jealous hater is back with some more beef. Now, I know most of you have been waiting patiently for me to slap around Karen's new video, but I was hesitant because I felt kind of bad. I didn't want all of you thinking Apoc beats up old ladies, but apparently, like that comment said, I have no morals, so I said fuck it and got right back to business per usual. So in today's focus, we'll be breaking down my future ex-wife Karen's newest and most recent stunt, where she finally gets some answers on what's been going on with her and her body, and why she's been having all these infertility issues after waiting 8 months of doing nothing. Now, before we begin, I just wanted to say the reason I used the word stunt was because that's exactly what her video was about, creating a narrative, writing more to her story to try to sway you or convince you of the lie, as this Karina Koff wannabe did back in April when she uploaded this little sob story called Finally Opening Up, where she basically claims the reason they've changed as people, vloggers, or whatever is because people were calling CPS on them.
Somebody crossed a line into our privacy. And if you guys have been following us for a long time, you know what happened. I'm not going to get into details with it again.
Not to mention basing the whole reason they had to move around the CPS situation as well because they felt unsafe.
Ever since they moved into this house, they've been different. Do you think we wanted to move into this house right now? We literally had to move out of that house. We did not feel safe there.
Yet only 4 months after announcing the lake house, KK uploads a podcast episode called Buying Our Dream Home, where they state that they bought the lake house on an impulse and not a need for safety.
So why now? Why now did we get the house? Why didn't we wait a little bit?
Buy later?
Yeah. It's kind of an impulse.
You really freaking wanted to?
Well, you put it in my head and then you can't take it back.
Okay, so this is how we moved into
You
the
can't
house.
bring me to a house.
Mentioning nothing about feeling unsafe, they bought the lake house back in October 18th, 2019. This podcast episode was February 26, 2020. And Karen's little Finally Opening Up video was posted April 26, 2020, only 1 month after stating that they bought the lake house on an impulse. So to sum up what I'm trying to get out here is that people have been calling out KK for changing, in which they kept stating they never change, or Kwa tried to blame music or something. But the whole reality of things is that Karen and Kwa have fallen from grace and tried to create narratives to try to twist things their way whenever people question them or when they receive backlash, and that's what they tried to do here with the lake house, trying to make it seem like they had to move for safety reasons, even though after the move they just gave the unsafe house to Karen's mom. Karen's even dropped off her kids quite a few times even after the unsafe fact. And here we are again, present day, with her whole miscarriage and infertility journey. Okay, let's just get this shit show over with. How the hell they gonna judge us when we came from the bottom? We ain't never had enough. We was living life rough. Now we good, now we straight, now we up, now we good.
Guys, I have had one of the longest weeks ever, and I feel like I'm just having a second to catch you guys up to speed.
Does anyone question why this video even has an intro? Kind of weird, a video based around heartbreak and misfortune is it getting the same treatment as a regular vlog.
But I just wanted to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation because I got a lot of really kind of sad news.
So apparently one of the most heart-wrenching things a woman could ever go through is only kind of sad. Okay, and I don't really know how you can have a one-on-one conversation, a heart-to-heart, with over 1 million subs. She just said this shit to make all her little 12-year-olds feel special. Oh my god, Karen is talking just to me.
I'm gonna try and get through this without crying, but so fuck. already starting.
Yo, how come when I bring up the brightness when Karen is apparently about to cry underneath those hands is a fat ass smile? And it's not like she's holding back anything either. That's clearly a fucking smile on her face. Ooh, fuck, it's starting. What is? It doesn't look like you just received any bad news at all. Looking pretty chipper to me.
So, basically, the reason I didn't just straight go to an OBGYN, I know a lot of you guys are like, go to an OBGYN,
So to bring all you losers up to speed, Karen has apparently had 8 months of infertility issues basing around a bunch of pregnancy tests coming up, both positive and negative, where she also has apparently had 3 questionable miscarriages, and over the course of this shit wannabe reality TV series, she has never actually went to the doctors to go get checked out, aside from declining a blood test that would actually tell her if she had a miscarriage or not.
But if you want, I mean, I can check the blood pregnancy test and check a number if you want to have an exact. I mean, it's not necessary, I don't think. Okay. But if you want, I can. It just takes about an hour to get back. Sure. No, that's okay. You're okay? Yeah.
And what makes this clip even more relevant is the fact that in this new video she posted, where she has a one-on-one conversation with hundreds and thousands of people, she states this.
The way, like, insurance works here, I need a reason to go. So that's why, like, every time I had a miscarriage, I would go into the ER so I'd have a record of it. You know what I mean?
So basically she's stating the reason she went to the ER in the first place was to get a record of her miscarriages so that her insurance would cover her OBGYN visit to get checked out. Well, for one, that's not how insurance works here in America. Doesn't matter where you are or what state you're in. This is a falsehood she is spreading. And you can take this next comment with a grain of salt, but there's really no reason not to believe this person.
I live 10 minutes away from Karen, and I am here to tell you that in Florida, you are able to go to your OBGYN at any time without a referral. I know for a fact because I had issues, went, and then had a hysterectomy and a pelvic lift this past March. I even have insurance through Obamacare, so she's making up excuses.
Yeah, to cover her ass. And not a week before this video as well, this living meme literally stated if nothing was found wrong with her body, then she would just go ask for a referral.
I'm just nervous to find out something wrong, and I'm nervous everything checks out. I know that something's off, but I don't know. If I can't get any answers from her, then I'll probably ask her to, like, refer me somewhere.
But by her story, she needs a reason or proof to go. So how can you just ask for a referral if nothing is proven wrong? This is such a big contradiction, a big hole in her story. Not to mention, why is it that she has all this evidence from her kidney stone adventures, all clickbaited to hell, but basically nothing, no great details when it comes to her infertility journey, aside from some premiered, monetized, and sponsored videos where she just claims she can see a line on a pregnancy test, but there's really nothing there. And I know recently she went to the doctors to go get blood work done, but I guarantee you that it was most likely based around her kidney stone results and nothing to do with miscarriages. She's always very vague when it comes to explaining what the doctors were actually looking at or what they were actually looking for. And the only other evidence we have of her getting a blood test and not denying one herself is her just waiting in the lobby for the results of a blood test that she apparently took behind everyone's back, and she cut off the camera as soon as she was called up, in which I kind of find that a little bit weird. She showcased herself waiting in a lobby but didn't show the conversation itself. She just skipped to when she was leaving the doctor's office. This makes it seem like she didn't want you to hear what was actually being said, because again, it was most likely based around her kidney stones and not actually based around her infertility. Not to mention, she is still having those kidney stone issues. So what I'm saying here does hold some water. Now, this is only an assumption, yes, but because the conversation was cut off, there's no way of actually knowing why she was there in the first place. But a doctor would never call her to come in if her results were perfectly fine. They would call her to inform her that her results were perfectly fine, but they wouldn't call her in. The only time a doctor would call a person in is when they want you to come back because they actually found something and further testing is needed, and she was fine.
The way like insurance works here, I need a reason to go. So that's why like every time I had a miscarriage, I would go into the ER so I'd have a record of it, you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what she means, because as far as we know, the only record we have of Karen actually going to the ER is her denying the very test that would create a record for her insurance to cover her OBGYN visit.
But Apoc, she could have just went and got tested without saying anything.
Well, wouldn't that defeat the whole purpose of her journey? And to say maybe she just did all this off camera is just an assumption as well. And just like I can't prove she went to go see the results of her kidney stones or whatever, none of the little cronies can prove she went in for what she said for either. Although, I have plenty of undeniable evidence throughout this whole video that she's a damn liar, and all they have is,
I feel like Karen's telling the truth.
I couldn't just be like, hey, I've been trying to get pregnant for months and it's not working. Can you see me? And my insurance cover it, because there's no proof of all that.
So what about all the women who experience infertility but don't experience miscarriages? Because infertility can also be based on the ability to get pregnant. 10% of women, which is like over 6 million women within the United States, have a difficulty staying pregnant or even getting pregnant in general. That means a percentage of that 6 million women or so experience different kinds of infertility. And if a female just can't get pregnant in general, how can she prove that she's infertile with no physical evidence aside from her own words that she's been trying? How would she ever get her insurance to cover anything? Yeah, a person could say she's unable to get pregnant, but like Karen just stated, you can't just say things, you have to prove it, which is false information.
doing my diligence and like getting the blood work done, everything really helped me in the long run to be able to get even a phone call with a fertility specialist, which I did this week.
So how does she have such a deep and detailed conversation with a fertility specialist now when apparently she had one before, but they couldn't tell her much over the phone because she needs to go in to be examined?
I just wanted to get my hormone levels checked out, get my ovaries checked out, get everything just checked out to see how it's going. Even my C-section scar I want to get checked out. So I do want to do that. I had a call with her and she asked me a few questions and she couldn't really give me any input because she hasn't seen me or taken my levels or whatever.
Not really sure how that's possible because apparently she needs a reason to go. No mention of proof or anything about insurance bullshit here. In fact, from what it sounds like, from what she is saying, from her own words, she can just skip on down to the clinic.
Let me get my phone because I'm going to say things wrong.
What she actually means, she's gonna go get her script because apparently just saying she has bad scar tissue damage is too difficult to remember.
And then I had a phone call with her and basically she said that I have some, God, I don't want to cry right now.
Karen, you're smiling.
It just sucks whenever there's nothing you can do about it. It's one thing if it was my choice, hey.
This sounds oddly familiar.
It just is frustrating when you feel like you don't have that choice.
Fuck me.
You don't think those tears are real?
No, not when she's smiling the whole damn time.
I'm trying not to cry right now.
So a female would or could never be able to control her tears with this kind of news. Not that anyone would actually care if she cried. It's understandable. I mean, these kind of things are horrible for anyone to experience. The reason why people care right now is because she's fucking smiling while claiming she's going to cry, talking about a horrible thing. This is all crocodile tears.
And then losing multiple throughout the year.
Shit, how many miscarriages have you had within the year, Karen? Because you told your doctor probably 3.
Well, I've had miscarriages before, so this is probably the 3rd miscarriage now.
Women don't forget how many children they have lost. And if you think otherwise, you're a big poopy head with a shit opinion.
I feel kind of a sense of relief knowing exactly why.
How does she know her exact diagnosis over a single phone call with a specialist without ever going in?
So, I'm just dragging it on, but...
Yeah, we get it, runtime.
Basically, I have some scar tissue from my C-section, the last one that I got. and there's a lot of scar adhesions and tissue.
Oh man, these details are just staggering. How can anyone refute this undeniable evidence?
And I knew there was something wrong.
Yet did nothing when it all was actively happening.
It just looks different from the other times that I got stitched up, and
Damn, look at that fucking vein, dog. Her head looks like it's about to pop. She's really trying to squeeze out those tears. Crazy. For someone who has apparently been through so much this year, she seems to be having a little bit of a struggle to cry.
this last time that they did it, if you guys remember, I was pretty pissed because they stapled it together, which I was not aware was happening and I didn't think was a good idea.
Doesn't really matter what you think, Karen. Staples after a C-section are not abnormal. In fact, they are actually used more often to help the incision heal faster while also reducing the scar's appearance. Why does some random loser like me, who has never experienced childbirth, or a C-section for that matter, know more about this than you? With like 3 hours of research, you're literally a C-section mom of 3, have been a mom for 5 years, and you're getting clowned on. So anyways, Frank Reynolds here shows off her C-section scar to get all personal and close, you know, with 300,000 people, and goes on about her secondary infertility.
So I knew that there was something going on because just the way that it was, I didn't think that that was causing like my secondary infertility or anything, but
By the way, if you didn't know, her secondary infertility is self-diagnosed. Basing this from her own comment section, I guess the diagnosis from a bunch of fetuses has more of a credibility than an actual doctor.
I'm gonna try and collect myself for a second.
I just told you guys about the worst experience of my life.
Why the fuck is she laughing?
This is my first time really saying it out loud besides Sequoia.
I kind of find it hard to believe that Karen didn't tell her mom, her sisters, or even Taylor. I mean, she's apparently willing to do live pregnancy tests with a bunch of little fetuses online. And this also kind of reminds me of another clip where Karen talks about her most recent miscarriage for the first time on the vlog, and she apparently has been hard to comfort. Yet she looks like she shoved those joke chattering teeth in her mouth. Looks fine to me.
So basically I have some pretty bad scar tissue, and it is, from what she can see in the x-ray, she said she might need to get a better look for in an ultrasound or whatever.
Or whatever, man. The information we're getting here. By the way, x-rays are not sensitive enough to detect scar tissue damage. Even ultrasounds are limited. Plus, you would actually need to get the right one as well, which would be a transvaginal ultrasound. The one she sent over was abdominal and not even based around her scar tissue. She sent over x-rays and ultrasounds from her kidney stone exam. The only definitive way to actually be diagnosed with what she states is by a laparoscopy, but that would require actually going in.
It is pretty extensive, and that
Have you noticed yet that she hasn't even named off what she's apparently been diagnosed with, but it's extensive, which with what she claims to have would be called incisional endometriosis. And if she really had that phone call, that's what the fertility specialist would have told her. Scar tissue and adhesions are not even a diagnosis, they are the result of your diagnosis, which again would be incisional endometriosis.
like she was listing off all the symptoms that could come along with it, and that's literally everything I had, like spotting in between periods, cramping. I've had a ton of cramping just randomly throughout my cycle, and like spotting.
She literally just said spotting twice. She took the most basic and common symptoms and just ran with it. She didn't even really go into great detail either.
I have a spotting and cramps and oh god, what else is there? Spotting.
Bruh.
It just all made sense at the end of the conversation.
Which conveniently only Karen heard.
She sent me some articles, and one of the things that it says is like the scarring of the fallopian tubes can prevent pregnancy, which isn't my case, which is good.
How would she ever know that's the case about her fallopian tubes without ever getting looked at? You have to take a special dye test in order to see if your fallopian tubes are the issue, which again requires actually going in. I know I'm repeating myself here, but you actually have to go in and do these tests in order to find out. Yet apparently, Karen already knows hers are fine. Bullshit! Oh god! Ugh. Excuse me.
Like when you think about it, it's like so fucking sad. Each one of those pregnancies could have become this amazing child that I get to know and love.
None of them were real. She faked them all.
I know that so there are choices for me. I could go and get the scar tissue removed.
But I thought you didn't have a choice.
It just sucks whenever, like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's one thing if it was, like, my choice, like, hey, I know that so there are choices for me. I could go and get the scar tissue removed.
There's no, like, saying exactly how bad it is until they, like, get in there and get better, like, ultrasounds or another x-ray. La-di-da-di-da.
What? La-di-da-di-da, huh? Oh, man. That's some pretty careless shit to say for something so f***ing and utterly serious. And didn't she also say earlier that her scar tissue damage was bad extensive? So why is she now stating that there's no way of knowing the extent of the damage without further exams?
But she was pretty confident on the scarring and the adhesions that were there.
Again, there's no way of knowing the damage without more exams, but apparently the specialist is confident on the damage from the x-rays and ultrasounds based around kidney stone exams. She literally just said this within the same breath.
She did say that there are massages that I can do to help with the pain because I do have pain when I touch there.
In the history of kkandbabyj, she has not once ever talked about this pain, kind of like the spotting cramps she just randomly wanted to mention. But let's get into some perspective here. She apparently had this pain, yet she's been pressing to have a baby, and has apparently had multiple miscarriages, but has never thought about if that pain correlates into a miscarriage or is the very reason why she's been having these issues. So instead of doing what every single woman ever would do when experiencing infertility or miscarriage, whatever, Karen just keeps trying to have another baby. One after the other, miscarriage after miscarriage. She's basically asking for it. And by her own account, she could never go in for that pain because she has no proof of her pain aside from a touch and her word. Yet the only way a doctor would ever see Karen, by her own words here, people, is if she had physical proof of her pain. That's not how insurance works. And it's pretty horrible that she's spreading this false information to young girls who may actually experience these things later in life or even as a teen. Imagine this: if a 14-year-old girl got pregnant and she has watched Karen's journey, and for some odd reason she feels like there's something going on with her baby or her pregnancy, she just has a bad feeling, but she uses Karen's experience, you know, what she's seen, and applies it towards her own, which would make her think she can't just go in to see if the baby's okay, or even alive for that matter, because Karen stated that you can't just go in and say things. So with no actual evidence that something is wrong, the 14-year-old girl who's pregnant, who's worried about her baby, doesn't go in, and that causes the baby to die. Because Karen, her idol, fed her false information. There could have been a chance to save the baby if she actually went in. And I know this is all hypothetical, but this is the reality of what could actually happen. And it does happen. Me and my wife went in with no issue based off of a feeling we had that something was wrong with our son when she was just about 30 weeks pregnant. But we had no proof or evidence to show our doctors or insurance or whatever. That was until we got in there and got ultrasounds, and our son ended up being dead. You're telling me that if we lived in Florida, we wouldn't be able to do any of this? We wouldn't have been able to go in based off our bad feeling and our son ended up being dead because we had no proof to show them? Fuck off, Karen. You're horrible for spreading all these lies.
Pretty unlikely that I will get pregnant unless that is fixed.
Has never gotten past a blood test, yet she sure has finalized her condition.
So I might end up doing something for that. I know down the road I probably will end up doing something for that.
She just wants a fourth baby so badly.
But she might, or probably will do something about it later down the road. So much for being set on having another baby. Maybe she'll just get a cat.
We can go and get the scar tissue taken out or whatever she said. I honestly blocked out after, like, you probably won't get pregnant ever again.
Wow, you know, how convenient that she blocked out all the bigger details of how she could possibly fix her issue of infertility. But within the same breath said that that the specialist told her that she will probably never get pregnant again. Mind you, this never would be done over the phone. This is weird because she hasn't had issues getting pregnant. The issue is sustaining a pregnancy full term. So if the specialist did tell her anything, it would be based around sustaining and not conceiving. This is all bullshit though. How does a specialist inform you that you will probably never get pregnant again without knowing the extent of the damage, or doing more exams, or the surgery in general? But you actually have to go in and get that done in order to find all that stuff out. But apparently all this is said and done over the phone.
It's nice to just know, and I finally have an answer, and I can finally like move past this and move on.
She's not moving on. The clickbait has just fucking begun.
Because to me it was just like miscarriage after miscarriage. It's like, what am I doing wrong? And you know, they always tell you like, you're not doing anything wrong, it's not you, but
But it was you. You never went in to get looked at.
at the end of the day, it comes back to your body and what your body is doing, and you just can't help but go there.
She didn't know what her body was doing because she did nothing for her body.
That's it.
That's all, folks.
I know a lot of people have it much worse and go through much worse things, but it doesn't negate my feelings now and how I feel.
The gate, huh? What is the gating? The process of removing the gate from a plastic molded device. This operation may be performed during a mechanical deflashing with a trimming punch, or by using media deflashing. I think she meant negate, which means nullify, which is also very unnecessary to mention anyways. No one has stated her feelings don't matter. Bet she just inserted, she slid this in so that all the little 12-year-olds will be like,
Oh no, Karen, don't listen to those jealous haters. We love you and you matter. Your feelings matter. You're so stunning and brave.
I feel like my feelings are valid. It's such a rainy day. It's like perfect for this. It's like, of course I would get this news today, but
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Yo, Karen. Yo, Karen girl. Did you just slip up? Did you just say you got that news today?
It's such a rainy day. It's like perfect for this. It's like, of course I would get this news today, but
I thought she said it's been a long week. Wasn't this video supposed to be an update or something? Not to mention earlier within that same week when all this was going on, she posted up on Instagram about how she received this big news but felt overwhelmed and out of control, and that she will post a video when she feels up to it because she's like depressed or whatever the fuck ever, She just said she received this news today. So apparently she was ready to go, ready to film, ready to record a video of one of the worst things a woman could ever go through the very fucking day of finding out. Probably right off the phone too. Oh my god. This is all bullshit. This is all bullshit though. So I guess the whole reality of this entire situation is that Karen won't do anything for her body or miscarriages or infertility unless it's insured, but she's willing to buy a $2 million lake home on an impulse, buy all this Gucci bougie bullshit whenever the fuck she feels like it, and buy a $200,000 sports car on a whim. And that right there just speaks for itself. Okay, I'm done.
last time I saw my OB, he said my scar looks great. We even talked about having a fourth. I said I didn't want one, but he's like, I don't see any issue with you having one. That was another question. If you did later on, because he's like, you're so young, you're going to have another one. You're so young, you're going to have another one. You're so young, you're going to have another one. Everyone's like, you're so young, you're going to have another one. Don't worry.
You gotta remember, me and Karen are old.